Good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome to today's offer holder information webinar. For those of you that haven't attended any of these sessions previously, my name's Vicky Hannon and I am a member of the full degree team at the University of Limerick. So before we start, we're going to give it another minute or two for more people to join. But before we start, can people on the call at the moment just raise their hands if they can see the presentation that I have? Brilliant, Girish. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thank you. So I'm just going to give it a minute or two and then we're going to start. I am going to really quickly go through this presentation because a lot of the information that's in this presentation you will already know. So ideally what I'd like to do is I would like to go through the presentation as quickly as possible and then give more time on this particular session to questions and answers. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, most of the questions you probably do have will be addressed as we progress through the presentation. But any questions that you do have, please pop them into the Q&A. And once I've finished the presentation, I will then go to the Q&A and address any questions that you have there. Okay. So I think I'm going to start now. It's 2 minutes past 2 and we only have the hour, so I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for the Q&A. So again, just to reiterate, my name is Vicky Hannon. I work in the full degree team. Some of you will recognize me from the visa and the immigration webinars that I would do on a monthly basis. Today, the session is going to be kind of on the information with regards to the University of Limerick, and Ireland, some academic information there also, and information on things that you need to prepare prior to your arrival. So my contact details are there, ulglobal@ul.ie. So if you have any questions after the session, please feel free to send me an email. So moving swiftly along. So as I said, we're going to just speak about Ireland, Limerick, the UL campus, your pre-arrival, the next steps. We're going to touch on accommodation, the fees, payments, your visa application process, and of course, then we'll have the Q&A at the end of the session. So just to give you an idea where we are, our little Ireland, where we are geographically on the world map. So you can see there that we're quite centrally located in terms of Europe, in the sense that we're only 1 hour from London, 2 hours from Paris, 13.5 hours from San Francisco, and 8 hours from Accra. Okay, so great opportunity for those of you that are going to be coming to study with us to avail of our location. We're a gateway to Europe, so definitely a great opportunity for those of you that wish to travel while you're studying with us during the vacation time. So why Limerick? So Limerick is a really diverse city, and it's home to 150 nationalities. It's a very affordable city with a higher purchasing power for students in comparison to other cities like Dublin and Cork. Okay, it's the fastest growing region in Ireland for foreign direct investment outside of the capital for Dublin City. So this is really good to know for you, especially if you are looking to avail of the third level graduate scheme once you've successfully completed your program. So the city has more than 35,000 student population, and that's including international students from more than over 150 countries. It's a vibrant city. It has more than 110 festivals throughout the year with museums, theatres and cinemas. So there's plenty for everyone to do while they're here and during the weekends. Okay, so many global companies are based in Limerick City, so they would be the likes of Uber, Northern Trust, Dell, Stryker, and an awful lot of our graduates do gain employment with these companies once they have graduated from their program. So on this particular slide, I have included some links and some videos just to give you an idea of what the vibe of the city is. So in your own time, have a look at those. It will give you an idea as to what to expect when you arrive and make you somewhat familiar with the city. So why the University of Limerick? So a lot of students choose the University of Limerick for these reasons. Okay, so we are #1 for international student happiness, according to the International Student Barometer in 2024. 95%, which is very high percentage of our graduates, are in employment or conducting further study on successful completion of their program. Okay, so we have a student population of 19,700, and of that 19,700, 3,000 students are international students. Our staff population is at 2,200. Okay, so we've loads of staff, whether that would be admin staff or faculty. And the international faculty, we have 394 international faculty on our campus at the moment. So for those of you that are going to be studying business programs at the university with us in September, our Chemie Business School is in the top 1% of the international business schools, and we have a triple accreditation. So our business, we're while very much known for how good our Chemie Business School is. So again, another slide that you can look at in your own time. There's some videos there. They're testimonials from our students, our recent graduates. So it's good to have a look at these in your own time, as I said, to get an idea of what student life is at the university from a student's perspective. So in terms of campus, so sports on campus, we are well equipped in that it's deemed Ireland's sports campus. We have a 50-metre swimming pool and a 25-metre diving pool in our sports arena. Multi-purpose forecourts, floodlit and all-weather pitches for you to use. We've fitness studios, indoor, outdoor running tracks, and we have the highest climbing wall in Ireland. So we also have the UL Boathouse and an indoor powered rowing machines as well. So for those of you that are sporty and like to be physical, this is definitely a place that you will be frequenting when you come in September. So our library was recently renovated in 2018. And we have over 350,000 printed books. So the automated reserve collection is, which we refer to as the ARC, is the automated storage and the retrieval system. And this has the capacity to store up to and in or around 500,000 books using the ARC system or in terms of your workshops. So we also have group study rooms, and there's a laptop loan service also available. So the new student centre is a new building that is on campus. It's our most recent building on campus, new build on campus. This building is specifically for students. So this is where students gather to meet up with friends and actually have some downtime away from your academic studies. So it's everything outside of the classroom. Clubs and societies happen within this building. We've event spaces. There's 173 seated auditorium for events and performances. There's games rooms with gaming consoles, multimedia, multi-ball walls. So it's a great place for students to meet up with their friends and have some downtime. So this is definitely a building that you will be frequenting when you arrive in September. So the student supports. So we were actually voted #1 in Ireland for student supports on the iBarometer in 2024. So on campus, we have the Student Health Centre, we have student counselling and wellbeing services, and also we have a program which is called the First 7 Weeks. So basically, when you arrive for the first 7 weeks of your journey, we will have events going on throughout that time for you to avail of opportunities to meet with new students, sign up for clubs and societies, and volunteering opportunities on and off campus also. So on this slide, I have links with more detailed information, so please do feel free to visit those links if maybe the President's Volunteer Award is something that you're interested in taking part of. So as I mentioned, we have over 80 clubs and societies that you can join. There is something for every student depending on what their interests are. They range from astronomy to dance, games, politics, yogas, and so much more. So the International Society will be meeting with you during the orientation week, and this will give you the opportunity to sign up for a club or society that is something of interest to yourself. So in terms of career support and employment, UL is ranked in the top 200 global universities for graduate employability, okay? 95% of our students are employment or in further studies within 6 months of graduating from a program at UL. So the career support team will support you in ways like CV building. They do preparation workshops for interview skills, and they do one-to-one also career guidance counselling. So for as you're approaching your graduation, students are very much encouraged to avail of the supports that our career services provide. So working in Ireland while you are studying. So visa required students and international students that are required to register with immigration when they arrive, you will be allocated with what we call is a Stamp 2 category immigration stamp. And basically the Stamp 2 category stamp means that you're here on permission on the given that you're a student. So while you are on and have those permissions, you are eligible to work for up to 20 hours per week during the semester. And outside of the semester, then you're eligible to work for up to 40 hours per week. Okay. The immigration department in Ireland would deem outside of term time as the months of June, July, August, and September. So those 4 months you can work full time. And it also deems holiday vacation time from the 15th of December to the 15th of January inclusive. So you can also work full time during this period. So a lot of our students, when they do arrive, they do look for part-time work to kind of supplement their finances and to have a bit of extra pocket money to maybe avail of going on some European trips throughout the academic year. So when you arrive in Ireland, you will need to register with immigration first. You'll need to apply for a PPS number, and once you have your PPS number, then you can then you can take a part-time job. Again, all this information we will go through with you in greater detail when you arrive during orientation week, which is starting Monday, the 31st of August. So in terms of working once you've graduated from the University of Limerick, students can apply for what we call a third level graduate scheme. This scheme will allow you to stay in Ireland for up to 12 months if you're an undergraduate student, and up to 24 months if you're a postgraduate student or a PhD student. So during this time, then you can use this time to secure work in an area related to your field of study. So Campus Connect. Every student I would recommend to download Campus Connect. This is a great opportunity for you to meet students that are coming to UL from the same country as you and from other countries. It's a great opportunity to make friends before you arrive so that, you're not as anxious arriving that you haven't kind of met anybody, so that you know that you can arrange to meet people on your arrival. Okay, so it's really important that you download Campus Connect. Also, not only is it a great opportunity for you to connect with other students, but it's also a platform that we use to give useful information in terms of arriving to the university. So there's groups there on that particular app that you can join as an international student. In terms, we'd be going through information like welcoming you in September. You can ask a question, direct questions to ourselves here at UL Global, see information about the city, the university, the campus, and it's a great opportunity for students to share information and share tips, even in relation to the visa application process. So for those of you that haven't already accepted your offer letter, accepted your offer of study at the University of Limerick, you need to pay your deposit of €1,000, and you need to complete your acceptance form and email it to our admissions office. Now, our admissions office can be contacted at gps@ul.ie. Okay. Once you have paid the acceptance deposit and sent your course acceptance form back to the admissions office, they will send you an email to say that you firmly accepted, and you can use this email you can download this email, and you can use this as part of this document to support your visa application. Submitting outstanding documents. So for those of you that have received a conditional offer to the university, you will be receiving your results over the coming weeks, and it's very important that you provide your final transcripts, your final degree awards, proof of your English language to our admissions office. So it's really important that once you receive these documents, that you contact our admissions department and you upload all these documents to the student portal, because once you do that, our admissions team then will be able to issue you with an unconditional offer. Unconditional offers are definitely required for students that are applying for visas at our New Delhi office, the Irish visa office in New Delhi. So students that are coming from India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, you will need to have an unconditional offer to start your visa application. So it's very important, as soon as you have access to these transcripts, final degree awards, English language proficiency tests, that you upload them to your application portal as soon as possible to get your unconditional offer. Booking accommodation on campus. If I'm not mistaken, on-campus accommodation is fully booked at the moment. However, you can request to go on a waiting list. Okay, so this slide has just some information on what on-campus living looks like. You can go into the link and the main accommodation website and find more information there. Off-campus accommodation. So for those of you that have not secured on-campus accommodation and are going to have to secure, for those of you that didn't secure, I beg your pardon, on-campus accommodation, this we would recommend that you register with the student pad and secure your off-campus accommodation there. So any queries in terms of off-campus accommodation, you can direct to offcampus.accom@ul.ie. So just to alert you, be careful of scams. Unfortunately, there has been recent rise in scams, and especially in the private rental market. So please be very, very sure. If you are unsure, contact the off-campus accommodation at UL and ask them, are they familiar with the off-campus accommodation, and if they could do anything to verify that it is legitimate off-campus accommodation. So the visa application, again, I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because I have been and will be doing more visa application information webinars before you arrive. Ideally, every student should at this point have their visa application started and ready to submit, if not already. So on this particular slide, I've just included some links on how to determine, one, if you are actually visa required, because not all students are actually required to have a visa to study in Ireland. However, all non-EU students are required to register with immigration when they arrive. Again, this is something that I will go through with you when I meet with you all at our immigration registration information session, which is scheduled for Monday, the 31st of August. For those of you that are going to be arriving a little bit later, please don't worry. I will be doing, I think, nearly 13 sessions on the immigration registration process throughout the month of October or September and into October. So if you're not going to be here on Monday, the 31st of August, you can come along to one of those sessions and I will go through the process with you. So in order to start the visa application, you need to have paid 50% of your tuition fees. Very important to realize that some visa required students, it can take up to 8 weeks or longer to process your student visa. So it's very important, especially at this particular time in the year, that this is something that you're focusing on and given your utmost immediate attention, okay? Because we're on the 9th of July now, so most of you will be arriving for the end of, or aiming to arrive for orientation on Monday, the 31st of August. Again, refer to the links that are on this particular slide for more information, and definitely join us at our next immigration or our next visa webinar, which the details will be sent out to you in due course for that. Second now. This doesn't seem to want to be moving. Okay. Again, quickly, I'm just going to run through the documents that are required for your student visas. So you'll need your application summary form, you'll need passport photographs, private medical insurance. If you look at the visa and immigration section of our website, all details of how to secure private medical insurance are there. You need to disclose on your visa application if you've previously been denied a visa, because failure to declare a visa refusal could result in an automatic visa refusal again. So a letter of acceptance, which you'll receive from our admissions office, the visa support letter, which you'll receive from me once you've paid 50% of your tuition, once you've paid 50% of your tuition fee. On your AVATS form and on your statement of purpose, you'll have to explain if there's any gaps in your educational history. You'll also need to provide the visa office with evidence of your academic ability. So all of your transcripts, your final degree awards, English language proficiency if required. Your finances, you need to demonstrate to the visa officer that you have sufficient finances to support yourself for the duration of your studies. You'll need to complete the summary of finances, the FSF, which is a form that is part of your visa application. And if you happen to be under the age of 18, there's some extra documentation for unaccompanied students. If your program requires vetting, you can contact our vetting office to find out what documents they can provide you with and what is required for the visa application. So paying the tuition fees, if you haven't paid 50% of your tuition fees already, we recommend that you use TransferMate, okay? TransferMate will notify us once the payment has been made, and once we receive this notification, we can issue you with your visa support letter. Okay, so again, I'm just going to move quickly along. Tuition fees for the academic year 26-27 can be located on the link on this particular slide. So some programs will have a slightly higher cost due to field trips or lab work requirements, but basically our undergraduate programs would vary from 17,000 to 22,000, depending on what faculty you're going to be studying with. And then our postgraduate tuition fees would vary from 13,000 to 23,000, again, depending on what faculty you're with and whether or not there are field trips or lab work requirements. But the tuition fees can be found on the link within the slide above. So common questions. Can I pay my fees in installments? So there is an option to pay your fee installments. Generally, at the University of Limerick, the tuition fees are paid in 2 installments. The first installment before you arrive, and for our visa required students, you need to pay this to get your visa support letter. The second installment is paid at the beginning of the second semester, which is which will be January 2027. Can I apply for on-campus accommodation? Yes, you can. However, I believe the on-campus accommodation is fully booked. However, you can contact our accommodations team and ask if you can be put on a waiting list. Campus Connect, I've spoken a little bit about that. Great platform to meet up with other students prior to arrival. A great platform also to get information and helpful tips and hints from other students. So definitely one worth connecting to. When do I get, this is a really common question, particularly at this time in the year, when do I get access to my student email account? You will not have access to your student email account until mid-August. So in order to get access to your UL student email account, our admissions team you have to complete an enrollment task. Our admissions team will be rolling out that enrollment task in August. Okay, so it will be done in batches, so you won't all receive the enrollment task email at the same time. This will be rolled out over a few days. Once you have completed all of the tasks within the enrollment task, if I'm not mistaken, there's 7 tasks. Once you've completed all of those, you will then have access to your student email. We cannot send the enrollment task prior to August. This is when it's scheduled, and this is when you will receive it. Okay. When should I plan to arrive at UL? Orientation is starting on Monday, the 31st of August. So if at all possible, we would request that you're on campus and ready to attend orientation. Some programs may require an earlier start. If you think or feel that your program has an earlier start, you need to contact your course director. Their contact details will be on the course information page, and they will confirm what the start date is. But typically, for the vast majority of programs, start on the 7th of September, with our orientation starting a week before on Monday, the 31st of August. So again, any queries that you have in terms of your emigration, your visa support letter, you can send to me directly at ulglobal@ul. There's another, any questions in relation to your academics, your offer letter, uploading your documentation can be addressed to our admissions team at gps@ul.ie. So here we have just a few links and some student blogs and social medias that you can have a look at just to get an idea of what university life is on campus before you arrive. So I probably should have said at the beginning of the session, this session is actually recorded and we will share the recording with you, if not later today, first thing tomorrow. And with the recording, we will also send you the PowerPoint presentation. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to go to the Q&As. And see if you have any questions in there. Okay, so just bear with me 1 second. So the first question, I received an unconditional offer and in the mail it mentions that I should pay my fees and do the visa application on or before the 15th of July. But I'm only after getting a date after the 15th. So is it okay to pay after the 15th and book an appointment after that? How long will it take for the visa support letter after receipt, after payment? Okay, as I explained going through the presentation, if you pay you need to pay your tuition fees as soon as possible because really you need to have the visa application started at this point. Okay, you need to pay if you pay your tuition fees via TransferMate. When they receive the tuition, when they receive the payment, they will notify us. And it's on that notification that I will generate the visa support letter. Once the visa support letter is generated, it will take, you will have your visa support letter within 24 hours, possibly 48, depending on how busy it is. Okay, but it's the 9th of July now. So Rohan, I really would be advising you to get that tuition fee payment made as soon as possible. Let me see. So this query is, I'm an applicant from Turkey. I received a conditional offer. I paid my fees and secured my accommodation. I uploaded my final transcript and graduation certificate 2 weeks ago. When can we realistically expect our unconditional offer? Okay. I would advise you to contact our admissions team as soon as possible, gps@ul.ie, and ask them to send you, it's the unconditional offer email. The unconditional offer email will include details on how to convert the unconditional offer into a PDF, okay? Really, you should have had that by now, so please do contact our admissions team as soon as possible for that. Just bear with me. Let me read this one out. Concerning off-campus accommodation, I've checked with Brookfield Hall Park View, amongst others, and I keep seeing that it's closed. So am I early, and is this because the summer semester is on, or now is it too late? Okay, so what you need to do is you need to contact them directly. You either need to email them or telephone them, okay? Also go onto the student pad, because you'll be able to secure off-campus accommodation there. But if you, in order to secure campus accommodation, you'll need to have paid a booking deposit. So the likelihood is that they're fully booked at the moment, but I would definitely recommend that you contact them and ask them to be put on a waiting list. Another question here. I want to know, after confirming my seat, can I apply for a different, I'm assuming a different program? You will need to start the application process again. When you initially applied, you would have had the option of applying for 2 programs, and our admissions team would have sent you an offer for one of those. So if you do not want to enroll on the program that you have been offered, you will need to apply again. You can contact our admissions team at gps@ul.ie for more information on that. This is a really good question from Lucia. Hello, I received an unconditional offer to study at UL this year, but I would like to defer my studies for next year. I'm not quite sure what I should do. So for those of you that have received an offer for the academic year 26-27 and you want to defer it, what you need to do is you need to send an email to our admissions team. Our admissions team, again, gps@ul.ie. But you also need to copy us, ulglobal@ul.ie, on that. The reason you need to copy us on it is so that I can update my college visa spreadsheet, which is a report I send to our visa office, to the Department of Foreign Affairs on a weekly basis. So I'll need to update that to say that you're deferring your studies for next year, so they'll have a record of that. Once you send the email to both admissions and to UL Global, our admissions team will get back to you with what the deferral process looks like and confirm whether or not a deferral is possible for your particular program. So generally, if a student is granted a deferral, the admissions team will retain your acceptance deposit of €1,000 and refund you the remaining tuition if you paid additional tuition. You can request that tuition fee is kept at the university until next year if you so wish, but deferrals need to go through our admissions team, and we also need to be copied in on that. While we're talking about keeping the UL Global office updated, for those of you that receive a visa rejection or a visa approval, you need to let us know. A simple email to ulglobal@ul.ie saying, "Hi Vicky, I received my visa approval," and you can attach a letter so I can update my records. Equally, if you receive a visa refusal, you need to send me the visa refusal letter, and I will need to update my records, and I will also need to update the admissions team so they can initiate your refund. So it's very, very important that you keep the UL Global office up to speed on where you're at in terms of your visa application. Okay. Okay, the next question there. I have a question regarding accommodation. Is it mandatory to pay any amounts for it, or would I just book it? Because I'm applying from a visa required country. In order to book accommodation, you do need to, if it's on campus accommodation, you need to pay your deposit to secure that accommodation. You need to contact the accommodations office directly, and they will let you know when the final payment is required. It's the same if it's off-campus accommodation. You need to speak to your landlord, landlady, make an agreement with them, whether it's a deposit that you need to secure the booking or whether you need to pay in full. So you'll need to contact either the on-campus accommodations office if it's on-campus accommodation that you've booked, or you'll need to have a conversation with your landlord, landlady. how can I get an offer letter from the offer email sent? Okay, we get this question all the time. If you read the information on the offer email, there's guidelines on that that shows you how to download that into a PDF. Okay, that's on your offer email. It'll also be on your unconditional offer email. So refer to your offer email, follow the guidelines, and then you'll be able to download it into a PDF. Okay, another question here from Davis. When trying to access the student fees link from India, I cannot. How do I know the exact amount of 50% fees, specifically if I availed of a scholarship discounts? Okay, again, this is another question that we get on a daily basis. So basically, if you go onto the main UL website, you can type in the course fees for the academic year 26-27. The payment that you were required to make in order to get your visa support letter is 50% of the total tuition. You do not include any UL scholarships. The only amount that can be deducted is the deposit if you have been paid. So let's say, for example, tuition fees are 20,000 euros. You have paid an acceptance deposit of 1,000. You have a UL scholarship of 2,000. 50% of your tuition fees are 10,000. You can deduct the 1,000 acceptance deposit, which makes your fee balance 9,000 euros. The UL scholarship is not considered, okay? The only thing that you can take into consideration is or what you can deduct from the 50% is the acceptance deposit of 1,000 euros. Okay, this is another really good question, especially in terms of the visa application. I received an unconditional offer notice that as an international student, I am not required to submit an English language test. So in terms of visa required students that have received unconditional offers with no English requirement, the reason our admissions team gave you a unconditional offer is because when they were reviewing your documents, they would have determined or seen from the documents that you provided that you were proficient in English. So whether that meant you studied with English as being the medium of instruction. If this is the case, and when you're applying for your student visa, what you need to submit, obviously, is your visa, your offer letter, your unconditional offer from our admissions team. But you also need to provide evidence that you did actually study with English being the medium of instruction. So if your high school, your undergraduate program, or your postgraduate studies were done through the medium of instruction of English in your home country, you need to provide evidence of this. So that will mean contacting the educational institution in question, asking them to provide you a letter saying that you studied at this institution from X date to Y date, and that the medium of instruction was English. And then that will satisfy the visa officer that you have met the English language requirement. Another question, I paid the deposit to secure a place for the master's degree. I received an email confirming receipt of the payment. Should I have received something else? Okay, if you've only paid your deposit and you're a visa required student, you really need to be paying 50% of the tuition fee now, okay? If you go to our website, the UL Global website, and type in visa and immigration, you will find details on how to pay your tuition fees there. They'll also be included in the slides within this presentation that will be sent to you after this session. Anyone that has only paid a deposit at this stage needs to start paying their 50% now, because if you're visa required, you really need to start the visa application at this point in the year. As I mentioned before, depending on what country you're applying for your Irish visa at, visa applications to be processed can take anything between 8 and 12 weeks. We don't have 12 weeks at this point, so we really, really need to, anyone that's only ever paid their deposit needs to start getting their tuition fees paid and their visa application submitted. My employer is paying for my study. Is it possible to get an invoice for both the offer acceptance and the tuition fees? You'll need to contact our fees office to get an invoice. You can contact them. I'm just going to pop it into the chat. Let me see. Oh, the chat's turned off. I forget. Just 1 second. I'm just going to respond there. Our student fees office can be contacted at student, student.fees, FEES, .office, OFFICE, @ul.ie. Okay, so you need to contact the student fees office to get an invoice. And your once the tuition fees have been paid, we can then send you your visa support letter. Okay. Okay, Amelia, you've asked a question. Do you know how off-campus accommodation will be paid by financial aid, or know of any steps that you need to prepare? So, Amelia, if you're actually in receipt of US financial federal aid, you can contact my colleagues Aoife and Cahill at usfederalaid@ul.ie, and they will tell you the procedure for paying for how once your federal aid is lodged to your account, your student account, how it is dispersed for your accommodation expenses. So reach out to Cahill or Aoife Matthews. Okay. Okay, I've gone through all of the questions that are in the Q&A. There's another one in there from Lena. My offer letter did not mention deposit. Is this because I'm an Erasmus student? Yes, absolutely. You don't need to pay a deposit. Do I need to do anything about tuition fees? Lena, if you're an Erasmus student, I would imagine we have a bilateral agreement with your university, and you will be paying your tuition fees to your home university and not the University of Limerick. You can contact the incoming Erasmus team just to confirm that. Just 1 second. I've not received an email with the title letter of acceptance. So Davis, you should have received an acceptance email from our admissions team if you've paid the acceptance deposit. So I would recommend that you follow up with them at gps@ul.ie. So it's not really a letter, as I mentioned earlier, it's actually an email. And there's details within that email on how to convert the email to a letter acceptance letter. I've not received a link to Transformate. Transformate link will be on this presentation, which will be sent to you either this afternoon or tomorrow. If you need it today, go on to the Visa and Immigration section of our website. Okay, all this information you would have received with your offer email when you were first offered your program. So have a look at that, have a read through that information. Another question here, can the visa support letter be used to begin the visa issuing process, or do you require an unconditional acceptance? So students applying to the New Delhi visa office, okay, students from India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka, you do need an unconditional offer letter and a visa support letter. Other countries, students applying for visas in other countries, it varies. So go on to the embassy or the consulate for the country that you're applying for, and they'll have a detailed information on whether or not an unconditional offer letter is required. Okay, I've kind of gone through most of the questions there. Just a second now, just one last quick look. Yep, I've gone through all of the questions there. So what I'll do is, if you, as I said, I'll just do a quick recap. Any questions in terms of tuition fee receipts, tuition payments and that, you can send to our student fees office. Any questions in relation to accommodation, whether it be on campus or off campus accommodation, you can refer to our admissions team. Queries in relation to your visa support letter or deferring your program, visa rejections, visa updates, please email to me at ulglobal.ie and I will get back to you. So that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you found the session useful. Again, I will be meeting with you again shortly in the next week or so for another visa information session. And at that point, I will go into more detail on the visa application and also kind of on pre-arrival, you know, what happens if your visa is going to be denied, how to appeal, what happens, how to defer your program, what if you were anticipating a late arrival due to a visa delay. I'll go through all that information at our next visa information session. So in the meantime, have a great day. And I will see you all again very soon. Thanks for joining today. Thank you. Take care, guys. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.